before Christmas in middle America. It's post-war time, so everyone's feeling a crunch a little bit. Not everyone has as much food, things are so hard to come by. But, as always, at this time of year, it is just before Christmas and everyone is feeling the love. It always seems there's a bit more to go around and everyone is in very high spirits. There is in this little town a very small orphanage that houses about 12 boys. Run by nuns, it has always survived throughout the year. And of course, around this time, everyone gives a little more, so the poor little orphanage feels a little bit more of that love as well. And at this time of year, the kids don't look forward to Santa coming because they know from birth that Santa doesn't come. They don't look forward to vast meals and desserts, as we all do, because at this time of year, there is a little bit more to go around, but not quite enough for them. They don't get presents, they don't get stockings. But there is one thing that they always get. They can always count on the nuns to somehow scrape enough together so that that evening, after their Christmas dinner, they each get an orange. Now, if you can imagine, this is, of course, post-war times. Even oranges are hard to come by. So an orange is a very special treat for these little boys. And they, for the most part, look forward to it all through the year. There's one little boy named Billy. He's a little 7-year-old boy. He's got scraggly hair, never get a tame. And he's mostly a good kid, but like all 7-year-old boys, he tends to act out a little. And he, more than any of the other boys, looks forward to this orange. He dreams about it at night. He saves it for weeks after the Christmas, even the peels. He puts them under his pillow so he can just smell the citrus, that it can remind him of how much he enjoyed that orange on Christmas Day. He peels it very slowly every year, and he savors it one piece at a time, relishing that flavor, because he knows he's not going to get anything like that until next year, if he's good. So this Christmas, for weeks ahead of time, he's thinking about it, and he's dreaming about it, and he's hoping and wishing and praying for it. And he's thinking about it, and he can taste it on his tongue. And like all 7-year-old boys, the more he thinks about it, the more excited he gets. The more excited he gets, the more his temper starts to flare, and he starts to get into fights. And he starts acting out a little bit. And one thing leads to another, and the nuns will tell him, Billy, if you're not good, you won't like what's going to happen. And so one day falls into the next, and finally we're at Christmas Eve. And Christmas Eve, doesn't we get into another fight? And it's over something petty, something about a toy that he wanted that he wasn't willing to share with one of his kids. And of course it's Christmas Eve, so everybody's hopes and spirits are up. But it was Billy's fault, and finally the nun just had enough. And she said, Billy, I'm sorry, but you can't have your orange this year. Well, you can imagine, for a boy who is looking forward to this all year, his spirits just fell. And he didn't know what to do. He pleaded, and he promised to be better. And the nun said, oh, you had your chances with these to be better, and you didn't. So I'm sorry, but this year, no orange. So that night he goes to bed, knowing that there's nothing to look forward to the next day. And more than that, knowing that he's going to have to watch all his friends enjoy their orange. So he lays his head down for the night, and his tears are silently falling from his eyes because he knows that he doesn't want to make anyone else upset. It's their good days as well. The next morning he gets up and they have their breakfast. And they go through their day, and spirits are a little higher, and there's a little more food to go around. There's even a little more fuel for the fire, so everyone's a little warmer. But for Billy, he doesn't feel any of that. He doesn't notice any of that. He kind of keeps to himself. Doesn't really talk to anyone else. And that night after dinner, when he knows is about to get their oranges, he quietly excuses himself, and he goes up to his room, and he lays down on his bed and cries. And he's feeling so terrible about trying not to feel terrible, and he doesn't want anyone else to see how bad he feels, because he doesn't want to bring anyone else down, because he knows how it feels to get that one time of the year. So when he hears downstairs that everybody is having fun, and he finally hears them call the time for bed, he quietly goes to the bathroom so he doesn't have to see everyone coming in with their Christmas oranges. And he stays in the bathroom for a good little while. And he sits there with the door closed and tries not to hear everyone having a good time in the other room. Finally, when he realizes that everyone's probably in bed and the lights are out, he tiptoes out and goes back to his bed. And he lays his head back on the pillow, which is still wet from his tears. And he puts his head down. And everyone's quiet. and the lights are out, and he rolls over and puts his hand under the pillow, and he feels something, and he thinks, what is that? It's a little wet. So he pulls over his pillow, and he sees a little bundle wrapped in napkins. And he grabs the napkin and he opens it, and he sees inside are 9 pieces of individual segments of orange. And he realizes that his brothers had pulled apart one piece from each of their oranges to give to him to make one full orange. And he realized he wasn't so alone. And he realized it didn't matter that he had the orange. It didn't matter that everyone had their orange and he was happy. What mattered was that he had family who understood him, who loved him, enough to give up even just that one segment of something that was so precious to them. And he remembered that moral for the rest of his life. And I say to you, if there's anything that you have, that you may have, you think you have enough, but you have just one little thing that you can give, something that you won't miss, something that won't make a difference in the overall scheme of things. Maybe there's something that you can give to somebody else that will make a world of a difference to someone like